Hello, scholars, and welcome back. It's week 2 of POL452, Organizational Theory and Design. This week, this is going to be a quick overview video that you should become accustomed to. This is going to be the week 2 video, which we are going to talk about the concepts here in week 2, do a little bit of reflection on week 1, a little bit of oversight or insight into the weeks to come. But hopefully we're going to answer all the questions, get everything you need to be prepared to be successful here in week 2. Here in week 2, the overview that we're going to talk about this is we're going to look at the theories and concepts, the foundational theories and concepts of organizational change. And that is to build that foundation that we'll build upon, establish that foundation that we'll build upon for weeks to come. So let's just jump into it. Here in Blackboard, we have an introduction to week 2, and what I have included here are 2 audio files with a brief introduction to the concept of week 2. And when you start hearing these, you're going to recognize that there's a different voice. And it's the course build, Beth Groves, that built this course for us. And the reason that I wanted to leave these audio files in place is it's just a slightly different perspective of organizational theory from her point of view on what the concepts we're going to go over here in week 2. And like all of us, or like we probably realized to this point, there isn't one specific view or perfect collective concept when it comes to organizational change and implementing organizational change. So you're going to have my point of view, you're going to have Spector and Sim's point of view, and here is an additional point of view from the course build Professor Groves. So I have a WMA and an MP3 for you Apple people that might have trouble. So take a quick listen to that, 5 minutes or so, to give you a quick overview. For the readings this week, we're going to jump around. In the Spector text, implementing organizational change, we're going to jump into chapter 2, and we're going to talk about the theories of effective change implementation. So once again, the foundational concepts of how the theories. But then in the MOB text, the Managing Organizational Behavior text, the SIMS text, we are going to jump all the way to chapter 11 in Designing Effective Organizations. And the logic behind that, once again, is we really want to introduce you to a bunch of the concepts that this course, the theories of this course, so that we can really establish that foundation and this information that we'll utilize in our weeks to come. There's a PowerPoint. There's a couple PowerPoints that I've included. One is a brief overview of Chapter 2 that I would like you to go over, and then each week I'm going to include the Spector text PowerPoints that came with the text. And like I recommend to all my students, look at the PowerPoints, do your reading, look at your PowerPoints again. If you look at the PowerPoints, you're going to understand the key concepts of this week. You're going to then dive into your reading. You're somewhere in your mind, you're going to say that I've already seen this in the PowerPoint. You're going to hopefully, when you read it in your text, you've seen it a couple places. That's going to simulate something in your mind to absorb that information, retain that information, so that hopefully later on in this course we can apply that information. So we have those two texts or those 2 PowerPoints that are associated with our week 2 readings and concepts. I've added an additional reading for this is at Microsoft India. It's just, I believe it's about 3 pages, and just a real quick read on how corporate culture impacts performance. So I think you'll really enjoy this. And once again, just a real quick read, and it's referenced in our chapter 11. And I believe you especially in our modern world where we're really trying to focus on the culture in our organization, and if we can improve the culture in our organization, we can improve our organization as a whole. So I think you'll enjoy this reading. So now let's dive into our 3 deliverables this week. And you can see that we have a case study, a discussion thread, and our quiz number 2. So in our case study number 1, and remember our case studies, these are going to come out of our Spector text. And read the case study on Blue Cloud Development on page 47 and 48 in your Implementing Organizational Change text. Prepare and submit answers to the 5 questions found on the top of page 47. Case discussions. This should be presented in a simple format. Statement of the question followed by an answer. Be sure to answer each question completely. Use complete sentences with your answers. This is going to be due on Sunday, September 16th, and it is a 50-point assignment. And remember, when we say September 16th, all of our assignments are on that Monday to Sunday, and Sunday by 11:59. So it's just a quick case study. We're going to have several case studies in this, and I really enjoy the case studies because you're going to be able to take the reading and see how organizations are actually utilizing these concepts. So it's a quick read, 2 pages on this blue diamond development, and then there's a series of questions, only 5 questions. And just make sure that you complete each question, use complete sentences, spell out the question, and give me a definitive answer to each question. And I look forward to reading your perspectives, your take on this case study of Blue Cloud. Our next deliverable we have is our week number 2 discussion dynamic thread. What are some alternative approaches to rewards that you would wish to see implemented in your organization? Also give evidence of how this would fit into the culture. So here is this concept of rewards. We're going to visit this in our readings this week. And what are some alternative approaches to awards that you would like to see implemented in your organization? Now, many of us, we work in the public sector, and we realize that in the public sector, we're very limited to our reward structure. Some of you work in the private sector where you have much more latitude to the giving out of awards. I know that in my organization, the public sector, we are very limited to what we can give. We can't give, annual bonuses. We can't have Christmas parties. We can't have elaborate events. We understand that in the public sector. But what could we do to improve our organizational culture through a reward system? And I look forward to some of your insight. Some of your organizations already do an extremely good job at this to reward their employees, to motivate both intrinsically and extrinsic motivation. So let me hear about this and give some evidence of how this would fit into your organizational culture. So I always like these. And once again, discussion thread. Remember, I want those in by Friday, the original thread, just so that your colleagues will have the opportunity to read your original thread on Friday and then give them a couple days on Saturday and Sunday to reply to that. And I'll add a little verbiage in here, but remember, every one of our discussion thread, the original discussion thread, I believe that in order to hit this successfully, it's going to take about 200 words, and your replies are going to be 100 words apiece. Remember, I do not like I agree with, well done, good jobs. Those aren't discussion threads. We do discussion threads in online education here in OPS to replace the dialogue of the classroom. I want you to read their thread, and I want you to reply to it. Add to the discussion, the body of knowledge. So no good jobs. I don't want to hear I agree with. I want some substance to your replies. And I believe by making your replies 100 words minimum, we will all have a successful discussion thread. And once again, first thread on Friday, follow-ups by Sunday at 11:59. And finally, our quiz 2. True, false, multiple choice. It's not timed. However, you only have one attempt. So do some diligence and use some time management so that once you start it, that you only have that one attempt so that you can understand that. And there we go with week 2. So it's going to be a very straightforward week, building on our readings of week 1, building on that organizational concept coming up, reading some of the theories. Once again, a little bit of looking back. I was really very pleased with our week 1. Everybody was able to submit by the deadlines, which is incredibly important to me. I realize that all of us are working adults. All of us are working adults that are juggling school, but I also realize as working adults, we are all used to deadlines and needing to meet deadlines, and I try to continue that concept in this course. I have a boss that tells me when I need to have stuff due by, and it's no different here in our online education. So utilizing time management is key, keeping up on your studies is key, and turning them in by the deadlines is key. And for all of you that did that this week, I completely appreciate it. It's great. I look forward to that. We had a very successful week 1. I hope that momentum continues throughout the rest of this course. Once again, reiterating on the earlier videos, I use that concept that if I'm not hearing from you, I understand that you are just having an excellent time in this class. You're understanding everything, the concepts, it's clicking, you're flowing. So if I'm not hearing from you, my assumption is that you are doing excellent in this class. If you are not understanding the concepts, if you are not understanding the direction, if you are not understanding the core concepts, when the due dates are, anything with this course, just please get a hold of me as soon as possible if you have any issues whatsoever. But I hope that we all have a successful second week in this course. I'll keep you in my thoughts and my prayers. Um, let's have another successful week, and I look forward to reading all of your work. So bye for now. Look forward to talking to you very soon.